Hello viewers, welcome to CEC lectures. Today we are having our next lecture in the series of Introduction to Programming in C++. So in this series we have seen till this point, what we have seen is actually what is C++, where it stands in terms of, as an entity, as an identity within high level languages. It stands under the paradigm of object oriented programming languages, and then we have seen how in a nutshell we have seen how it is different from C. So in today's lecture, our broad theme is we will be considering object oriented versus procedural programming. So coming to the programming as an as a task or as a art, I can say what actually a programming is. Now let me try to explain this with the help of an example. So I am having a problem in hand which is to be solved. For example, the problem is to find area of a rectangle. For finding the area of the rectangle, what is my requirement, what I'll be doing with that requirement, and then what I'll be I can say producing as an end result. So a set of data should be there, which is I can say length into breadth or length into width, because area of rectangle is obviously length into width. Then I also need a set of functions which is going to describe the functionality, which is going to multiply length into width, and this will be my output. I can say it as kind of a new variable or a kind of a new new term. So area, which is length into width, for I need a function is required to calculate this, and so basically and we have our output in hand. So what we did, we had a problem, and in order to solve that problem we have applied some functions to the data which is available with us. So this whole in kind of a nutshell, I can say yes, this is the programming. That the programming is, I can say simply, when I am going to say, is applying functions to data to solve the problem. So if I am saying the kind of how I am going to perform that function, or how I am going to perform the task of programming, so I can say I can apply a procedural concept, or I can even apply some other concept like object oriented programming. So here in procedural paradigm, what actually happens? So we have a set of functions, let's say function 1, function 2 and function 3, and all these functions interact with the data as and when required. But who is going to manage these functions? So ultimately it is the main kind of say procedure or main function which is going to call, or which is going to handle all these functions, function 1, function 2 and function 3, and these functions are free to access data. So basically what is happening here is the main program is coordinating this coordinating all calls to functions or procedures which are your function 1, function 2 and function 3, as you have seen. And main function is also going to hand over appropriate data to these functions or procedures, and this data will be I can say handled as, or this data is known as parameters. So here is a main function on top of everything. Then we have some functions, and those functions are interacting with data, where this data is being passed to the functions through the main program. This is what the idea of a procedural concept is, or procedural paradigm is. So basically what are we going to do for that rectangle problem whose example we have taken? We are going to take a function which is kind of, let's say, compute area, and integer L is for length, and integer W integer is written as int here. then int w and int l are the two parameters which are being passed here, and it is returning another int which is the area, and it is given by length into width. So this is what is being done here, and this length into width is a multiplication of two integers, and multiplication is closed under integers. So this is going to give you an integer. So that's what the type of the data which is being returned. So that's why an int which is the symbol of integer is returned before the function compute area. That means this function compute area is returning an integer, and it is also taking two integers L and W, multiplying these two integers and returning the multiplication. So now what is the flow here? What is happening? Main function or main program is giving these variables as parameters to this compute area function. Compute area function is performing some processing on that, which is kind of multiplication here in this case, and after that this is being returned to the main function. So main function is coordinating with compute area for all handling for all handling over the data, or vice versa, I can say. Now this was actually a procedural concept. Now let us try to see this problem from the perspective of an object oriented, from the perspective as if it is an object oriented programming problem. So let us try to see what actually this object oriented programming paradigm is, and then how we can apply this object oriented paradigm on the same problem, which is to find the area of the rectangle, for which we have seen the procedural concept just now. Now coming to object oriented paradigm, basically this object oriented paradigm is is a paradigm in which we instead of functions we create units known as objects, and these objects interact with each other by sending some messages. As you can see on the screen, I am having two objects, object 1 and object 2, and then I have returned some two things within this object 1 and object 2 is properties and capacities. So properties here denotes the, I can say, data which is with that particular object, and capacity denotes here the functions which are associated with that particular object. So we have data and functions, and which are available with each object, and then these objects are interacting by sending messages to each other. So this is what I can say glimpse of object oriented paradigm is. So now what is actually being done here? An object is being created which is handling, or which is having, I can say, both functions and data. So here the proper term for this is encapsulation. So I can say there is an encapsulation of both functions and data, and that encapsulation of functions and data is nothing but an object. So encapsulation is to enclose something within a covering. So I can say functions or data are tied up to objects. So object is an encapsulation of both functions and data. Coming to the next thing, I can say objects are an abstraction. Objects are an abstraction means here objects are going to represent real world entities. Real world entities, that means I can say I can have objects of students, object of rooms, or objects of any other possible entity which you can think of. So basically how these objects are coming up. So we are actually having a blueprint which is named as class. So for example, I am saying that there is a class student, and we have kind of name and roll number as the data within that class, and now we have a function which is to display that name and roll number that is there. So I am having a class student, and now but I am having a list of, let's say, 70 students, or maybe let's say 30 students. So what I'll be doing, I'll be actually creating 30 objects of this class. So here this class is serving as the blueprint for object, or I can say I'm having a framework for the object, and that framework is known as class. Or on the other hand, I can also say objects are instances of the class. Okay, now class, if we want to define the class, so I can say class is nothing but it is a data type which is going to define shared common properties or attribute. It is having some attributes, or it is having some properties, I can say, which are common to all the objects, and thus your classes are at the data type having those common properties or attributes. So for example, we have a data type, let's say integer, and if I am writing in any kind of normal language int x comma y, so now what is happening? So x and y are two variables which are of type integer. So that means data type of x and y is integer. Similarly, if I am declaring a class student, and then I am saying student s1 comma s2, so now this s1 and s2 has become the member, S1 and S2 has become the instances of that particular class which is a student, or I can say student here has become a data type, and I have created two variables which are objects S1 and S2 belonging to this particular data type of a student. So this is what the relationship between a class and an object is. Apart from that, I can also say objects have their own states. That means they have certain values, certain shape at that particular time. Shape in the sense they'll be having kind of some data which is there with some particular values, and not only data, these objects are having some operations also. For an associated set of operations is known as methods that describes the functionality, that how to carry out the particular task. So for example, I'll be taking one example of that particular area of rectangle for which we have seen the procedural idea. So for objects, we have objects are the abstraction, they are basically the encapsulation of functions and data. They have their own states, they are the objects of data type, objects of the class or variables of that particular data type which is class, I can say. Then apart from that, these have operations also. So operations is associated set of operations which is called method, and this method is going to describe how to carry out the task which is being required. Also, as in the figure I have shown that objects interact with each other by passing on messages from one object to the another. So objects have messages also. That means messages in the sense, by messages we mean that the data between the objects can be exchanged, and we can always request, or a program can always request an object to carry out one of the operations by sending it a message. So a request is being sent to the object by sending it in the form of the data, and operation is being requested. So objects, yes, interacts with the help of data and methods. Now coming to, with this background or with this platform built in, I can say let us take that old example of finding the area of the rectangle, and how that example can be seen using object oriented perspective, that we are going to see. So there what we did, we have, in procedural concepts, we have some we have one function which was compute area. It is taking some variables or it is taking some data, doing some computation and returning a value, right. But here if I am talking about object oriented perspective, so object oriented perspective says I need to define a class, or I can say a data type, which is a rectangle, and this is having two types of kind of things I can say, or entities. One is the data, which is the length and width. In case of a rectangle problem, this is width, and the length, the data which is available. Then we have a function which is, let's say, compute area or area, and that function is taking this width and length and performing something on that. But this data and function are not loose here. In procedural concept, they were loose in the sense here they are tied up with a particular class, or they are tied up with a particular object, I can say. So now I have a class which is having some data, which is having some function, and I need to create instance of the class, and this instance of the class is known as object. So first we have defined the class having some data and function, and now what are we doing? We are creating an instance of the class which is nothing but an object, and then we talk to object. That means we talk to object means we are requesting to object for the calculation of area. So objects, if you remember, we have just considered that objects can be objects can interact with each other, or objects can be contacted for doing some particular function. So here the same thing, we need to request the object for its area. So this is we have seen. So now we can say a class is there, rectangle, and then we have kind of two more two objects of that particular rectangle class, R1 and R2. So if rectangle class is having width and length, so is R1 is also having width and length, and R2 is also having width and length, and these are also having associated methods. So in C++ or in object oriented paradigm, rather than writing a procedure, we will define a class. What that class is going to do, that class encloses, or the correct term here is encapsulates the knowledge which is necessary to answer the question. So what was the question? What was the problem? The problem was there to calculate area of rectangle. So in order to calculate area of rectangle, we need the data which is length and width. So length and width are available within that class. So basically that class is encapsulating the knowledge which is necessary to answer the question, and the question here was what is the area of the rectangle, and class is having the whole kind of requirement, which are basically knowledge requirements which are needed in order to answer this question. So coming to the sample code, as we have seen in the procedural concept, we have just one function which was compute area. This was dealing with length and width. This length and width was being passed from main, and it is computing some area, and area is being again returned to the main program. That was the kind of, I can say, idea of procedural concept. While if I am coming to the sample code, or if I am coming to the this problem, when I am going to look it from object oriented programming's eyes, what I am going to do, I will be creating one class. Let's say the appropriate name here is rectangle. Then I am having some data types, which is data with it, not the data type, sorry for that. So we have some data which is width and length. Now why I have written private, I will be taking it in the upcoming lectures. So I have some data, then with in order to work with that data, I am having some functions, and that first function is the function rectangle, and the second function is the function area. So here area is being returned by multiplying width and length, and here what, my class is being ended. So now taking this once again, what actually is available within the class? This class is having some data members, which is width and length, and this class is also having some two functions, which one function is the function rectangle, which is defined inside the definition of the class. So rectangle is there, and another function is area, which is actually computing the area of this rectangle. Now here comes the role of main program or main function. I can say this main function is calling a rectangle as if it is a kind of data type, and we have created one object which is rect. Rect is the object of class rectangle, and we have passed two parameters within this object, 3 and 5, and then we need to calculate area of the rectangle with these parameters 3 and 5. So we need to call the function area with respect to this particular object in which we have passed on the parameters, or which we have passed on the values. So an object of the class rectangle has been created, and area for those values which are available or which are associated with this object will be calculated, and then finally you will be having a result. So comparing the two paradigms, one which is your procedural paradigm, or I can say procedural approach, another one is we are having object oriented programming approach. So the first approach says there is a main kind of program in which you define a function, and that function is doing the whole thing, that's it. So here it is not like that. If I am talking about an object oriented programming example, I will be building a class. Here the class is rectangle, then I have created one object. You can create as many as you want. So rectangle, rect 3, 5 is one. So rect is one object. We can create rect 1, rect 2, rect 3, and so on and so forth. And then this object is being accessed, or it is being passed on with the values of length and width, and length area, the function area has been called with this object only. So here please notice that the program is interacting with objects. It is passing data to the objects, as well as it is taking the area from that particular rect object too. So here we have seen one example that how it is going to take shape in procedural paradigm, and on the other hand we have also seen how it is going to take shape in object oriented programming paradigm. So coming to the characteristics of object oriented programming languages, there are some characteristics which are like encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and believe me, this list is not exclusive, at least. Now encapsulation, in the example which we have seen just, so encapsulation of data and functions. So the functions were there like a rectangle and this thing area, those functions, and the data which was there in the form of width and length. That data and functions are encapsulated inside class, and then the class serves as the blueprint, and then we have created objects or data types of that particular class. Then some other kind of characteristics are there, which says inheritance, and the next one is polymorphism. So inheritance, as I can say here in one line, obviously we will be tackling it in quite detail. So inheritance is taking properties of taking properties from its parent class, I can say. Polymorphism, if I try to explain it in one line, I can say polymorphism is something which is using the same function with different forms. That is polymorphism. We will also be taking a greater detailed look into these features. Then my object oriented programming languages supports modular programming. Development is obviously easy, and so is maintainability. So once we have created the class, we can create as many as objects we want. So this is basically, I can say, a list of kind of object oriented programming features which are required. So encapsulation, as I told you, it is combining data and structures with combining data structures, not data and structures, sorry for that. So combining your data structures along with the actions which are in the form of functions, and encapsulation is also achieving the target, or it is achieving the objective of data hiding also. That means some data we can make inaccessible to the outer world. That is also possible with the help of encapsulation. Then we have seen inheritance and polymorphism in kind of a very macro level, I can say. Now coming to, after this comparison and a detailed look of procedural as well as object oriented programming language, I can say that C++ is better than C. It is more expressive than C. Obviously it supports data abstraction and other object oriented features. So here in this lecture we have covered the difference between procedural concept and object oriented concept, and we have seen one example from using both the paradigms, and then we have seen what are the features of an object oriented programming paradigm or programming languages which they have are like polymorphism, inheritance, encapsulation, and many others we will be looking at in our upcoming lectures. Thank you for a patient hearing. Hope you have enjoyed the lecture.